What is going on? My name is Nick Nimmin. Welcome to another TubeBuddy live stream. If this is your first time here on the TubeBuddy channel, or if you haven't subscribed yet and you want to learn how to grow your channel, in addition to that, you want to learn about how to use all of the intricacies of YouTube and how to make videos faster, like what we're going to be talking about today, then go ahead and click the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the bell notification and then click the all option as well so you don't miss anything that's going to benefit you. With that out of the way, I want to say that today we are talking about how to create videos faster, because a lot of people, they have jobs, they have school that they have to go to, they have other things in their life outside of YouTube, but they still want to make content for YouTube. They want to put out more content. They want to do more in terms of creating content. So I put together 10 things today that are going to help you make videos faster for you. Now, before we get into that, I want to let you know that we are going to be doing a Q&A section of this show. So if you have a question about making videos faster or anything else YouTube related, go ahead and put that question in the form that is down in the description below. So the very first thing that you want to make sure that you're doing is batching. So at the very top of that batching list, because it's the very first thing in the process in terms of, it's the very first thing that you need to do. You need to come up with video ideas. So it's extremely important that you batch the process of creating video ideas or coming up with video ideas. A fantastic way to do that is if you have time to block out an afternoon, if you have time to block out just a few hours here, a few hours there, if you have time to, like when you're at the store, for example, if you go to the magazine rack and you're like, okay, I'm going to spend the next 15 minutes looking at magazines that are somewhat related to my niche in some kind of way, so that I can have my notepad out on my phone, and as I'm going through these magazines, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to come up with 10 video ideas for the next 10 videos that I'm going to make. So if you can find blocks of time and you can work it into your normal life while you're waiting for people, while you're using the bathroom, while you're doing other things, or to where you can just section that block of time out, then make sure that you do that. Because when you batch create topics, then what can happen is you'll have this humongous list of topics that you can go from. And then when it does come time to make videos and do some of the other stuff that we're going to be talking about, then you have all of these topics already in place, and you can just go through and pick whichever ones that you feel like you want to create based on, of course, the type of content it is that you are making. The second thing that you want to do, and this is also in batching, is you want to mass record your content or batch record your content for the type of content that you can. So again, if you're making animations, that particular one isn't really going to apply to you, but some of these other ones will. But that particular one isn't going to apply to you. But if you're doing any type of talking head type of content where you are, presenting to the camera, you're sharing information with the camera, you're vlogging or something like that, then mass recording can really make a big difference in terms of how much content you stack up. And listen, a lot of people will look at batch recording and they'll think, wow, that means that I have to make 12 videos at a time. It's not the case, right? You don't have to make 12 videos at a time, but if you can say, okay, you know what, I have to make one video. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make an additional video with the video that I'm making so that I can have one in the can. And then every single time that you do that, you're basically doubling up with your videos, which is going to help you extend your content out for a long period of time, and it's going to help you make more content faster. Next up on the list for that is your video structure. Now, this one might sound a little, I don't know, we'll just call it weird at first, right? This one might sound a little bit weird, but when it comes to video structure, the reason this can help you make videos faster is if you're making animation videos, or if you're making talking head videos, or if you're making films or vlogs, and you say, okay, every single vlog that I put together is going to have this particular structure. I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to put the, the exciting parts of my day right in here, and then I'm going to close it out this way in this particular thing, and I got to make sure that I get footage for, for the end of it so that I can wrap it up nice and smooth, and then I'm going to close it out and be done with it. And if you're doing animations, you're like, okay, with every animation, I'm going to start out, with showing the character. I'm going to start out with, that character has this particular problem, and then we're going to go through the specifics of fixing that problem and all of that. So where you have basically a structure, a plan for each individual video that you make. And when you do that, one thing that is really valuable with that is it helps you know what content that you can create. And then when you're editing it later, it helps you know, hey, okay, now I need to get this intro in here. Now I need to get this, this initial part of the body content in here. Now I need to get the real juice in here. And then now I need to start closing it out. Now I need to close it out. And then now I need to drop my bumper in here and so on. So having that video structure can really make a big difference in terms of making sure that you are producing content, a lot of content, as fast as you possibly can. I'm actually going to put this in my community feed really quick here because I haven't done that before, and I'm just curious to see what we can do here if we put this in the community feed. So if we do this, Andrew, as I'm putting this into the community feed, I want to go ahead and say that you might get a handful of, hey, review my channels coming in here. So so be on the lookout for that. Give me 1 second here. Share post. Join me live on TubeBuddy now. I don't know why I just thought to do this. Join me live on TubeBuddy. And while I'm doing this, if you want to go ahead and share this out to Twitter, or if you want to go ahead and share this out to Facebook in a group or something like that, go ahead and do that so we can get more people in here to help as many people as we possibly can. Okay, next up on our list, outside of the consistent video structure, which is going to help you know what you need to create, how you need to create it, how you're going to be editing in the future. Also, another thing that is really going to be beneficial for you is if you can learn to batch curate. Now, what I mean by batch curating is this. Basically, when you're making video content, you have your music that you put in there, you have your graphics that you put in there, you have any stock video clips that you use, any stock photos that you use, and things like that. So it's a really good idea when you're looking for music for one particular video that you're making, that as you're going through the library and you're looking for that music, you keep other videos in mind, which we're going to get into here later, but you keep other videos in mind. You say, okay, well, I like this particular song, so I'm going to go ahead and download that particular song. I'm just going to put it in a folder in my hard drive so that when I do go to make these other videos, I have those videos to choose from instead of having to go through a humongous library and basically sort through and find all the different tracks that I need. Same thing goes for your graphics. Same thing goes for any video clips that you use, any B-roll, and even creating B-roll. When you are putting all this stuff together, if you keep future content in mind, which we're going to get into all that here in a minute, but when you keep future content in mind, when you're curating all of this stuff to use in your videos, then that can really help speed up your process to where basically you're going to have all these elements so that all you have to do once your video's in place is just start pulling in all these elements to actually put your video together. Next up on the list is branded graphics. Now, here is Josephine DeSmet. Nice to see you in here as well. Beanie Draws, what is going on? Hutch, nice to see you as well. And Andrew Can, thank you for moderating the chat today. Much appreciated, my friend. But yeah, let's see here. But branded graphics, the cool thing about using branded graphics is it speeds you up in terms of, if you have a branded look. Okay, and I'll tell you this, a personal story of mine from a channel that I used to have. I'm actually going to be relaunching it soon, I think. But basically what I would do for that particular channel, and it really stretched out the process in the time that was needed to create those videos, is I said, okay, I'm going to be talking about this particular topic. So what I'm going to do is while I'm talking about this particular topic, I'm going to basically make all of the graphics, all of the text, everything that I'm putting together for this video, I'm going to make it themed to the particular video that I'm making, the actual topic itself. What that did, that caused, yeah, you know it, that caused a humongous kink in my workflow because not only did I have the topic to come up with, not only did I have to script it out and record it and all that stuff, but then I also I had to sit back and say, okay, well, now I got to make a theme for this. I got to create stuff that represents visually, that represents the topic that I'm talking about. And that made it such a long process. I love doing it, but in terms of the speed of production, it really slowed me down. So if I relaunch that channel, everything is going to be branded. Everything is going to be, all the graphics on there and all that. It's all going to be a consistent theme so that when I'm putting the videos together, that part of it, I'm just going to blow right through instead of having to, make all of these individual assets for every single video that I create. So, using, the same intros, using the same end screens, the same lower thirds, the same full screen graphics. So if you have text that comes up on your screen and you're always, trying to make different things, if you have a specific, like if you're using Photoshop as an example, if you have a specific template that you use to where you can just open it up, change the text, drop that out, and then drop it on top of your full screen graphic, then that's really going to speed you up in a massive, massive way. Now, the next thing on this list, and this is something that for some people, they start out doing this. Other people, it takes them a little bit, a little bit of time to start doing things this way, and that is to use templates. And what I mean by using templates is this is an example template right here. Okay, so this is, oops, that's the wrong one. That's not the one that I wanted to use. Let's see here. There we go. So this would be the example template, right? So as you can see, when I open up my video files, Andrew right now in the chat, he's saying that he loves templates. He absolutely loves them. Absolutely. So when you're using the templates, right? Like when I open up my video file and I'm ready to start going, all I have to do, because my intro is in there, my bumper's in there, my remember to subscribe graphic is in there, my lower third that pops up to remind people to subscribe is in there. If you look at the very bottom, you're also going to see I have 4 different music tracks in there, so that if you listen to my videos, you're going to hear that most of the time I use like the same handful of songs as my core, and then I'll use different songs, based on, what it is I'm talking about, or if I want to make it feel a little bit different or something like that. So all I have to do is drop in the video tracks, right? Drop in the video tracks, drop in the B-roll, and then I'm good to go in terms of what it is that I'm doing in the editing process. Everything else is already inside. This software right here, Hutch, is Sony Vegas. It's actually Magix Vegas now, but Vegas Pro is what it is. And with this, basically the idea is that everything else is in here, because second by second, all of this stuff counts in terms of having to go and track down. I got to track down my intro. I got to track down my lower thirds. I got to track down my end card in every single video, and that's going to add up to a lot of time, especially if you're uploading, 2, 3, 4, 5 times a week. That really can add up and really slow down your process of making videos, which is something that you definitely, without question, want to avoid. Another thing that could be really beneficial for you is recording in clips. Now, this is really cool because when you record in clips, basically what this does is this gives you the ability to say, okay, well, every single time that I start out and I'm saying about the same thing in my clips, then I know that when I get to the very last one, that's the right one, because typically the last one is usually the final take, and then you have that last one to work with. So all you have to do is you have to go through and say, okay, I said that. I click on the clip again. That starts, and you're like, oh, I said the same thing again. Said the same thing again. Oh, and now I said something different. Back up one, and then you use that particular clip. So when you're doing it that way, you just can skip through, and then you can just pull in whichever is the correct clip, so that way it's going to speed up the process instead of having just one big long track to where you have to go through and you're like, having to figure out, okay, which one is this? I'm trying to edit to the audio here to where I see the spikes in the waveform, but, I've said the same thing a bunch of different times, and I'm having to go through and make sure that I'm saying it, and you have to find it there, to where with the clips, you just click it, and then you are good to go in terms of knowing which one it is that you need to use. Next up on the list is to get organized. And I'm not attacking you here when I say this, but it's really important to get organized. So on your computer, let's say that you have a folder for YouTube. Phil, thank you very much. Let's say that you have oh, that's awesome, Kathy. Let's say that you have one folder that is your YouTube folder, right? This is like, hey, this is my YouTube channel. One thing that can really be helpful is basically containing all of this stuff into one folder, so that basically every time, Beanie, every time that you go into your folders to grab things, you know exactly where they are. So, this is also going to help you when it comes to templating, because if you have, like, let's say that you have all of your video graphics, as an example, you have all of your video graphics, your intros, and all that stuff in this particular folder. As long as you keep this folder together and you keep this structure together, then you can do anything with your template, and then it's still going to keep calling these these assets from the same exact place, right? So that is extremely important. The same thing goes if you look up above the video graphics folder, you'll see the stock videos, stock images, screen recording B-roll, which is something that I personally use, my personal B-roll that I record, music and sound effects, and then miscellaneous for any fun stuff I might throw in there if I have people send me clips or something like that. So when you are organized with anything in life, not just YouTube, but when you're organized with anything in life, it can really be beneficial in terms of speeding up your workflow, speeding up what it is that you're doing so that you can create more videos at a faster pace. Next up on the list is to make simple content. Now, one thing that it really took me a long time to understand when it comes to making YouTube content is sometimes you can make your videos way over the top in terms of like all of the stuff that you're doing in your videos, in terms of all the graphics and, you know, all these, hey, I need to make sure that, you know, everything's moving around the screen and things like that, which is cool. But sometimes you can, you know, go a few extra seconds without adding that stuff in there, you know, to where you can say, okay, I'm going to add some graphics and stuff here, and then the video is going to go for a little bit, and I'm going to add some graphics and stuff over here, and then the video is going to go for a little bit, I'm going to add some graphics and stuff here. Try cutting it down. That can really make a big difference because, you know, if you spend 10 minutes on, you know, each individual graphic section to create the graphics and all of that stuff, if you're producing this stuff, you know, at a higher, you know, volume, that's really going to speed up your workflow because if you can just take out just a couple of those, then that's really going to, you know, it can speed you up by 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, an hour, depending on what it is that you are doing, which is huge when it comes to all of the time that you spend on your videos. And you can even, you know, make more content in that time that you save, which is not only going to help you make videos faster, but it can also help you make more content for your channel. And another thing with simple content is a lot of times people think that in addition to doing all the fancy stuff, a lot of people think, myself included, think that, and this is changing, but think that, okay, when I make content, every single piece of content that I put out has to be this this top level stuff, right? But a simple thing that you can do is you can say, okay, well, if I want to upload more and I want to make videos faster, maybe that I just take an extra upload per week and I make that video something that's a little bit different from my normal content, something that's a little bit easier to make. I don't have any graphics in it. I don't have any like special music. I'm not being thematic about it. All I'm doing is dropping my intro in there, my bumper, and then everything else is just me talking or me showing something on my screen if you're doing tutorials or, you know, to where you don't edit it as much or something like that, to where you have one upload a week, just one, to where you just simplify everything it is that you're doing in the video for the sake of getting your information or your content or whatever it is that you happen to be sharing out there. Even if you're doing animations, or in Beanie's case, even if you're doing drawings, you know, like in his case, instead of editing it, you know, a lot like he does, then you can just say, okay, well, for this one, I'm just going to, you know, I'm just going to, you know, make it just a little bit more loose than I normally would, which would help speed up the workflow, which will help him get out more content. Another thing that can be extremely beneficial when it comes to making videos faster is planning everything out, right? Like when you plan everything out, it is extremely beneficial because like what I was talking about before in terms of, you know, batch recording and all of that stuff, when you are batch recording, when you're batch recording your videos, when you're batching your topics, when you're making B-roll, when you're making graphics, all of that stuff, if you have your next few videos planned out, let's say like a month out, if you plan like a month out and you say, okay, for the next, you know, 4 weeks, I'm making X amount of videos per week. These are the videos that I'm going to make for it, right? Then you can say when you're looking for music for one particular video, you can say, okay, well, I've got this other video that's going to be coming up, and the tone of that video would be a perfect fit for this particular song that I just heard. So I'm going to go ahead and download this, drop it in a folder for that particular video. So next thing I'm going to do is while I'm making graphics, hey, while I'm in here and I've got an extra 10 minutes to spare, I'm going to go ahead and since I'm making these particular graphics for this video, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make graphics for this other video as well. Since I've already got my Photoshop open or whatever software it is that you use to make your graphics, you know, I'm going to go ahead and just make all of this stuff in one sitting, or some of it, some extras in one sitting, just so that you can create content faster and you can get more content out there. And that applies across the board for everything that you're curating, everything that you're creating, because you're doing it in mass in one sitting. So those are my tips for creating content faster, for creating videos faster, and for basically upping your speed of production, which is extremely important when it comes to YouTube, because, you know, we all know that as long as people are clicking on your thumbnails, as long as people are watching your videos for a fair amount of time, then if you upload more or you upload consistently, then mathematically, you know, you're going to grow. As long as people are responding to your content in some way, then, you know, you're going to grow. Some people grow faster than other people, but you're going to grow. You know, over time, if you just keep plugging away, you're going to grow. So if you can squeeze in that extra upload, you know, it can make a really, really big difference. And if you can also speed up your workflow in terms of creating the videos and creating videos faster, you know, it can also help you just get back to your normal life to where you do put up your videos. And then when you're finished with that, because you're making them faster now, then that gives you a little bit more time in your personal life as well, which is also a humongous win. So now we're going to get into the question and answer portion of this show, which is arguably my favorite part of the show. Also going to drink from my TubeBuddy coffee cup. So, yeah, we're getting into the Q&A portion of the show. So if you want a YouTube question answered, go ahead and drop it into the form that is underneath this video. And then we're going to go through these one by one, and then we will see exactly what your question is, and we will pull it up on the screen, and we will get you rocking and rolling with an answer that hopefully you will enjoy. All right, so first up on the list is individual, the Troop of Storm 17. Okay, Troop of Storm 17 asks, would you recommend having multiple cameras to speed things up, or would that boggle the video and make it too complicated? Troop of Storms, here's what I think about using multiple cameras. One, it's awesome. Two, is it can actually add to the workflow, because in addition to using the one camera angle, you can also, when you're using the extra camera, now you're going to have to color correct 2 pieces of footage instead of 1. You're also going to have to transfer that extra piece of footage from the other camera into your software. You're going to have to pull it back into your editing software. Then you're gonna have to cut back and forth. Anytime you move things around, you're gonna have to group them so you can move them around together and all of that stuff. But multiple cameras definitely will up your production quality without question. So think of that, right? Think of, okay, well, if I am making videos, I'm going to up my production quality by using 2 cameras. Totally a win, right? And that can also actually help you in terms of speed, not necessarily in editing the 2 together, but if you are replacing adding a bunch of graphics in order to keep the scene changing, if you're replacing adding a bunch of graphics with adding different angles of footage just to keep it all interesting, that can actually help speed you up, because then you don't have to make as many graphics as well. So it's kind of balancing that out, but it can complicate things. But if you can do that in a way to where you're grouping them, and you're going to add just a few minutes of extra time, but if you can do that in a way to where you're grouping the footage once it's in your editor, so that you can basically move things around and scoot them around, and when you cut one, it cuts both of them and things like that. I know you can do that in Vegas. I'm not sure what software you're using, but as long as you can do that, then it's not going to add that much time, and it actually might save you some time on the end of the production. All right, next up on the list. I've said that like 18 times today, I believe. You know, I'm going to pop this chat out here real quick, and I'm going to slide this chat right over here so that I can see what you guys are saying. And also, if you have any tips for speeding up the production, let me know what you're doing as well, because, you know, like all of us, you know, we're all trying to do this stuff faster, and you might have a tip that, you know, that I don't know. So if you have something that you want to share in terms of things that you do to speed up your production, definitely drop it in the chat right now, because everybody in here, you know, we can all use tips in terms of, you know, making this stuff as fast as we possibly can. So next up on the list is visual snaps. Do you color grade your videos? If you do, can you go a little into your process in doing that? I keep trying to make my video look better with grading, but I can't seem to tweak the color without it going to an extreme. Thanks. So visual snaps, what are you using to create your videos? What are you using to actually edit your videos? For me personally, when I'm grading my video, there's a few things that I do. One, I'll do a boost in contrast. Two, I'll do a boost in saturation. I'll sharpen it. I'll make sure that I white balance it as well. I shoot with a color card, which is over there. I won't go get it, but I shoot with a color card, and that color card basically gives me a white so that I can sample right off of that to make sure that my white balance is dialed in. So basically, I hit the white balance, I hit the sharpen, I hit the color correct, and I hit the contrast and brightness on it. When it comes to actually adding color, I also have a plugin that I use that is really cool. There's a handful of really cool, easy to use plugins when it comes to doing some automatic settings. You can use like New Blue. You can use like Magic Bullet, I think is one. It's definitely one. You can also download like color packs from people. I know Peter McKinnon has like LUT packs that he downloads or that he provides and things like that. So there's a bunch of different ways to do it. But in terms of color grading, I don't spend time in terms of, hey, I'm going to go in, I'm going to pump these blues up a little bit. I don't do that. Right now, as far as the studio stuff that I do, everything is presets now. So basically, once I found my look, so to speak, then basically I built those presets, which is really part of templating that we talked about earlier. But I built those, but I built presets in to where now, like if I need to crop for my bumper, which is going to pop up here, then all I do is I go and I just pick the size from a drop down, bam, it's done. And when it comes to color, all I have to do is come in and pick my settings from a drop down, and it applies everything across the board to my video without me having to go in and tweak everything, which makes it all a lot faster. Your Real Estate Whisperer, those plugins are not free. Both of those are paid. Magic Bullet, if you get the full suite, is actually pretty expensive. It's like 800 and some change. I think New Blue Effects, I think that one is a little, maybe half the price, maybe around 300 or something like that. Hutch, what's going on, man? Says, hey, Nick, what is your recommended video structure to increase audience retention and subsequent watch time? Do you have any pro tips? Good to see you on the TubeBuddy stream. Thank you. Yeah, so I do. With what I found is that opening the video up with a teaser definitely is great. Saying you, there's actually been studies conducted on this, but saying you when the video first opens up to connect with the people that are watching your video, that also is helpful in terms of keeping people there. And then if you're going to do an intro of any kind right after your teaser, that's where you drop that, which really you don't even have to use intros. That's usually a vanity thing for us wanting our stuff to look cool, but the audience doesn't care if you have an intro or not. And then from there, you do any type of setup things, like on mine in particular, that's where I tell people to subscribe and all that stuff. And then you get into the actual content of your video. And then within the content, like that's where the real retention stuff happens. It's right in your intro, right when the video opens up. And it's also in that main body area. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that you're switching the scene up every, handful of seconds, every like 5 seconds or so, that you're making some type of change on the screen, be it a little push in, be it a push out, be it a little graphic popping up, be it, if you don't have, if you have like a longer period of time, use a YouTube card to have a card come out, that kind of stuff, just to keep things moving a little bit on the screen. That's something that I personally recommend and that I've found that works with me and people that I work with. In addition to that, in terms of the pro tips at the end, of course, you want to make sure that you tell people to subscribe and all that. But the main part that you're going to have to deal with in terms of the retention is if you're going to lose them right when the video opens or not, and then how fast you can get them into the content. So how you want to think about this is you want to say, okay, when my video first opens up, how can I grab their attention as fast as humanly possible? So you'll see on my videos, using me as an example, you'll see, okay, I'm going to show you how to do ABC, and we're starting right now. Right. So basically, as soon as it comes up, I'm like right in their face. I'm like, saying, hey, this is exactly what you're going to get. Basically, I'm confirming that the title that they clicked on or the topic of interest that they clicked on, that they are in the right place. Like, hey, you've made the right decision by clicking on this video. I'm confirming that this is what this video is about. And then I drop the intro and then I get into everything else. But think of that opening, first few seconds of that. A new viewer comes in. They've never seen your content before. How can you make their brain say, oh, what is this, right? That's what you want. When the video first opens up, you want their brain to say, what's going on here? I'm going to sit here and see this seems interesting in some way. Either the colors are popping or your energy is high or, something like that. But you want the viewer to pretty much stop in their tracks and take note of what it is that you are, what it is that you're doing. Geek Photo Gamers. To promote a new channel, what do you think is the most important 3 steps? Number 1, the very top of that list is being an active member of the community. Number 2 is search engine optimization, because it's a brand new channel, so you need to get it off of the ground. And number 3 is making sure that your thumbnail and your title are awesome. If you have to go and study copywriting on the internet, do it. If you have to study how to make awesome thumbnails in Photoshop or whatever software you're using, but Photoshop is going to win. But if you can study how to make the best thumbnails possible, if you can study how to craft the best titles possible, extremely, extremely important. So community, SEO, title, and thumbnail that are going to grab attention. Okay, those are the 3 most important for promoting the channel. Because in the community side of it, you're basically joining groups. I'm going to elaborate on that for a second. Basically, you're joining groups that are interested in the topics that you talk about. So when it comes to sharing your content there, first you're going to be a member of the community before your channel even launches. And then when you actually launch the channel, you're already going to be a known person in that community, so that you can be, hey, I just launched a YouTube channel talking about this, that, and the other thing, helping you solve problems, whatever. Go and check out the video. Let me know what you think, that kind of stuff. When it comes to the SEO, critical, because you gotta make it possible for people to find your videos if they're looking for stuff. And with the thumbnail and the title, the reason that one is a promotional thing is because YouTube is going to promote you internally. When you first upload your video, YouTube is going to show your thumbnail and your title in different places around the platform. So you need that thumbnail and title to be epic, so that people will click on it and they'll come in and they'll watch your video. And then from there, once you actually get them to come in and watch your video, that's a whole other ball game. And that falls back on what Hutch was talking about in terms of, you got to be able to grab their attention when they do click that thumbnail and actually keep them on your video as well and pull them through your content. Beanie Draws, my man. In terms of getting content out faster, I'm trying to loosen up my editing, but I'm worried that if I don't harshly edit it to be as quick as possible, people will get bored. Do you think having 1 to 2 hour loosely edited videos would be too boring to watch? I'm trying to keep things to under 30 minutes per tutorials. Okay, so one way that you could do it, Beanie, that you might want to consider is, 1, you might want to say, okay, well, I'm going to still do some of my, longer videos, but I'm also, or some of my, tightly edited videos, but instead of saying I'm going to loosely edit the videos, maybe instead of doing it that way, maybe you should also just consider segmenting it. So, here I'm drawing an eye. Here I'm drawing the head. Here I'm drawing the back. Here I'm drawing the arms, right? To where it's like, you kind of speed through a particular part, and then you go into the next section to where you section it off to where you don't have to show the full progression. Right? To where it's like, hey, I'm starting here, I'm going to speed through it, maybe stop, a few places to highlight a particular thing that I'm doing, speed through it, and then stop at another place to highlight a particular thing that I'm doing, and then move on to the next body part. That's what I would try to do. Learn Spanish World. How do you grow a channel quicker? Quality versus quantity. Can you compromise one of them? Technically, yeah. If you have just amazing content, then you can sacrifice quantity. But amazing content is not up to you in terms of if you think it's amazing or not, because all of us as creators, we're creative people. We all think that everything we put out is awesome. So it's not you that makes that judgment. It's the viewers that make that judgment. So if your content is amazing, then you won't have to upload as much. As an example is, if you look at the animation channel, Kurzgesagt, I think is the name of it. I don't know how you say it, but it's Kurzgesagt. They've got like 1 million+ subscribers, maybe even 2 million now, and they just have a handful of videos because the entire production of what it is that they make is off the charts. It's just outstanding. So they're a fantastic example of that. Now, when it comes to Andrew saying that quantity is quality is what Roberto Blake says. Like, I think the idea behind that is that, the more that you create with quantity, the better your quality gets because you become more practiced. Just like if you're playing piano, when you first start out, if you're playing, 3 times a week, then, yeah, you're going to get better at the piano. You might even play pretty good, coming out, that often. But if you're playing every single day and you're playing the piano every single day, then you're going to get better and better and better faster because you're putting in all that practice, you're putting in all that work to improve your craft. So I think that's the idea behind what Roberto is saying without question. But yeah, in terms of the quality versus quantity thing, definitely you can sacrifice quantity if you need to, but quality, in most cases, when people are just starting out on YouTube, in most cases, they don't come in with quality that's strong enough. I mean, I've been doing this for a long time, and my quality isn't good enough with the type of content that I make to where I can grow a humongous channel off of one upload a week. It's just not a reality within the type of content that I create. Avenged Sith. Love your name, by the way. Let's see here. Why are you and TubeBuddy fighting, Nick? Who started it? Well, let's go ahead and just say this is awkward, you know, here on the TubeBuddy channel. You know, I'm thanks Avenged Sith for that. It's not that me and TubeBuddy per se are fighting. It's that me and a particular somebody that is in the chat are we're having kind of like a civil war right now. And what happened with that is basically I was watching his live stream, and this is Andrew Can. You'll see him here with a blue wrench next to his name. I was watching his live stream, and he went in and reviewed my YouTube channel. So go click on his name right now, and you can actually watch that review. But he reviewed my YouTube channel, and he came at me. I mean, I'll just call it what it is. He came at me. And, you know, so basically, like, I was on a live stream after that, and, you know, I was talking with my brother, and we were just talking about, like, hey, you know, this is, we're coming for you. And, you know, because of that, you know, we're going to be reviewing his channel this Saturday. We're also going to be giving away some stuff this Saturday. Maybe as a resolution. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how the conversation's going to go, but you definitely need to check into my live stream this coming Saturday at 9 a.m. Eastern to see how this all, you know, kind of levels out. If it even levels out, I don't know. We might go into a deeper battle. I'm not sure because, you know, we're going to see how everything kind of turns out. But Andrew started it, and I'm going to finish it. That's all I'm saying. I'm going to finish it on Saturday. But yeah, check out Andrew's Twitter feed, because it is just epic in terms of the images and stuff that have been going on his Twitter feed. If you haven't seen it yet, I mean, just critical. Or I mean, gut splitting is what I meant. I don't know why I said critical. Okay, Chamark Games. Where can I promote my gaming channel? Currently, I'm not getting many views, and I upload every day. By the way, good work and keep it up. Thank you. Okay, so if you want to promote your gaming channel, the best way to do that is to make awesome gaming content. I know that sounds backwards, but hear me out. So, a friend of mine, he started a YouTube channel, I think it was last month, and he put up, I think, like 8 videos, and one thing that he focused on with his videos is making an awesome thumbnail, making an awesome title, and also editing the videos in a way that people were responding to. So it was like 8 videos, maybe 10 videos. He basically got his system down based on how people were responding inside of his analytics. He could tell in their retention reports where people were leaving and things like that. And basically what it was is he said, okay, I'm going to figure out how to keep people watching. He did that, and then now it's been like I think like a month, maybe month and a half, and he's already creeping up on 1,000 subscribers. So the best thing that you can do in terms of promoting your gaming channel is to make awesome gaming content so that the platform itself will promote your gaming channel. So awesome thumbnails, again, awesome title. Try to structure your videos and edit your videos in a way that makes people keep watching your content, because if you can get those things in order, awesome thumbnails so that people are clicking on them and you have a high click-through rate, you can keep people and titles, and you can keep people watching your content for, you know, a fair amount of time, then YouTube's going to help you out, and YouTube is actually going to push your content as well, instead of, you know, having to try to find, you know, external ways to do it. But another thing that I would do also is I would just look around for every place on the internet where people are talking about your game, and then try to integrate into the community that way, not go in and dropping links and things like that, but going in and just being part of a conversation, and then trying to find places to where people are having problems. You know, hey, I'm trying to beat this level and I can't do it. Hey, I just made a video about this. Go and check it out. That kind of stuff. You don't want to be sleazy about dropping links. It's so sleazy. Yeah. Jesse St. Louis, what is going on, my man? Nice to see you. Hopefully I'm going to see you at VidCon coming up. Is there any ideal ratio or percentage between suggested browse, search, external, etc. of views that I should be striving for? Absolutely. Suggested and browse are going to be your winners in most cases. If you have a majority of your traffic is suggested and browse. In most cases, you're going to be doing okay. If a majority of your traffic is search, you can also be doing okay, but that's usually how you get a channel rolling. But suggested and browse, those are the main ones that you want to try to get up, and you get those up by having awesome thumbnails that generate a great click-through rate, having good titles, and keeping people watching your content. And then basically as you make content that people are responding to, the algorithm sees that, and YouTube publicly says that the algorithm follows the audience. So instead of focusing on what the algorithm likes, focus on what your audience likes, and the algorithm will follow. So because of that, you want to make sure that you're keeping people watching your content and engaging in your content and all of that. And then you'll see those things change to where you're starting to get more suggested and more browse traffic over everything else. And it's also topical because, like Andrew right here is saying that TubeBuddy is search mostly, and he's saying that that's okay. And with Jesse's channel, he's more of like a vlog style channel. So his definitely with like really leaning hard on the thumbnails and titles and keeping people watching, all that stuff is going to be a huge benefit for him. Hutch again. That's what I'm talking about. Hutch is in here like wanting to learn stuff. That's what I love. Okay, so Hutch says, what camera are you using for your main videos at the moment, Nick? Your Amazon page has a few listed, but what's your go-to at the moment? So my camera here that I record in the studio environment, that is a Canon 80D. And then I have my Sony a6500. That is my B-roll camera, my out-and-about camera. If you look at the video that I did, my rant video, to where I'm like outside, that video was done on the a6500. I love both of those cameras. I got the 6500 because the 80D is awesome, but I wanted something that was a little bit more compact for shooting out and about. And they also have some like really cool like quick settings features, so that basically I can switch it from a normal like 24 frames per second shot. I can just change the dial, and then I have an instant like 120 frames per second with everything else adjusted for slow motion, so that I can get some cool slow motion shots and things like that. My girlfriend's starting a vlog here locally in Thailand, and hey, what is going on? Just had somebody come in here saying hello from Thailand. I'm also in Thailand. Hello to you as well. But yeah, my girlfriend's actually getting ready to start a vlog, and we were out shooting some stuff with that, and being able to switch between the 24 frames per second and the 120, like on the fly like that, was just awesome. We have so much cool footage for her stuff that it's incredible. Yeah, you can't beat those Canon colors. I totally agree. Totally agree. Eat Sleep Bangkok, what is going on? How do you speed up your thumbnail production? Same thing, man. You use templates for that as well. Like if you look at mine, like basically you A/B test through TubeBuddy. You A/B test through TubeBuddy so that you can figure out what people are responding to with your content, and then with your thumbnails, and then you make thumbnails that are similar to each other, to where you have the same colors, the same text that you're using, the same type of imagery. Of course, you're probably not going to use the same images for the type of content you're making, but the same type of imagery, to where it's like, hey. Every time we use, and you'll see this in TubeBuddy with the A/B testing, to where it's like, hey, every time we use food that is positioned in this certain way, people tend to click on it a little bit more. Then that's how you want to start. That's how you want to start doing it. So then every picture that you take for your thumbnails, to take it in that way. You take that picture, get it in there, throw it into your template that you already have your text in, and you already have any other colors that you're doing and all that stuff, and then you move on with it. All right. Oh, what was the, let's see here. The Thai says, hey, Nick, your vids are awesome. Hello from Thailand. Let me scroll down here. So what else he said? Yeah, in Thailand, saw your tutorial with the Thai bot currency. Yeah, absolutely. I'm actually going to open you up here so I can check out your channel a little bit later, see if you're local to where I am. Kathy Fit. Woo. I'm still getting over my throat thing if you were in my last live stream. Hold on. All right. Kathy Fit says, I use Filmora. Do you think it's good for other video making? What may be better that's not too pricey or cheesy? Yeah, Filmora is good. Definitely good. Great great video editor, and it's simple also, which is also fantastic. If you want to level it up, here's the thing. If like I always recommend to people, if you're going to say, okay, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and level up my video editing software, just go straight to Adobe, because even though, you know, it might be, I think it's like you can get just Adobe Premiere. I think it's like $20 a month or something like that. If you just go with the one piece of software, you can get the whole suite for $60, I believe. But if you're going to up your software, just go ahead and go with the standard, right? Because Adobe Premiere is the industry standard. It's basically, they make everything for it. There's so many tutorials on it that it'll make your head spin. It's like pro level stuff in terms of everything that you can do with it. Same thing with the whole Adobe Creative Suite. It's all awesome. Andrew said he started editing on Avid, which I've never used Avid. I'm not sure. I'm not stay away. Yeah, I'm not sure with Avid. Yeah, you can give some tips on Avid for sure. But you know, it's like if you're gonna start, you know, upping your game, so to speak, Kathy, then I would just go ahead and use the. I would go ahead and just start using the Adobe Suite. Cafe Stiflerd. Are there any resources for beginners for finding royalty-free or even Creative Commons, Premiere Pro templates, effects, presets, transitions, etc.? It might also be helpful if you can show how to use those downloads because they confuse me. So there are resources. You can use, let's see here, not Graphic River, Video Hive has templates. You can use, I think, Video Blocks also have templates. Both of those you're going to pay per thing that you want to use. They're not free. But you can basically download those. You can modify them. You can use them in your videos and all that stuff. So I would definitely check out those. Beanie Draws again. Beanie. For my new videos, I have a quick speed drawing version of my tutorial why I introduced the video to prepare people for what they're about to see. Do you think in the long term that hurts because people have already seen the video in the time lapse and might leave after, or do you think I should keep that and hopefully get them pumped for the tutorial? I would experiment. You know, all of this stuff comes down to experimentation. It comes down to saying, okay, this video, man, to where it's like, okay, this video, I'm going to do it with the time lapse. This next video, I'm going to do it without the time lapse. A video after that, I'm just going to show a screenshot of the final. You know, like what I would do is I would try different versions of it and see which one works best for you, because I can tell you what I think. But what I think doesn't matter. That's what that data is in there for, is to let you know how the audience is going to respond to it versus you know, just kind of throwing it out there and saying, well, I think this would be better. Like, they give you that data so that you can make that call. So what I would do is your next like 3 videos, test a few different options and see which one you get a better response for. Let's see here. ABM Almatza Burr News says, how is it so complicated to get subscribers and how long to get monetized? So they just pushed the monetization thing back to the end of next month. So you're going to have to wait for that. And in terms of it being complicated to get subscribers, it's not. What is complicated in the situation is your expectation of how many subscribers that you should have. It's not necessarily that it's difficult to get subscribers, because it is, but you need to look at, like, if YouTube isn't working for you in terms of I'm not getting views, I'm not getting subscribers, you need to look at what it is that you're doing, because it's not that YouTube has anything against you. It's not that YouTube is purposely not showing your content. It's just that the content that you're making, be it your thumbnails aren't pulling people in, your titles aren't pulling people in, and a lot of cases, you know, people don't even have their channels verified, you know, and then once they actually get to your content, you know, in a lot of cases, people have difficulty keeping people watching the videos. So it's not necessarily that it's complicated to get subscribers. It's just a learning curve. There's things that you have to understand in terms of the type of content that you have to make in order to convert, in order to, 1, get the views in the first place, 2, once those views come in, to actually convert viewers into subscribers and long-term viewers. Audits vlog, it's going to be coming out very, very, very soon. Like, very soon. Let's see here. Beanie Draws again. Can you go into a little more detail about what browse exactly is? Wouldn't show up in search results and suggested videos be better than browse? Aren't browse videos basically suggested videos anyway? Browse confuses me. Yeah, browse is basically where you're showing up on like home pages and stuff like that. And that's good because then YouTube is putting you like front and center when people first log into the platform. That's why browse is so good. Like when my channel is rocking, when it's at its peak, because you know there's ebbs and flows with YouTube. When my channel personally is at its peak, its browse features is usually dominating my traffic sources. When it starts to drop, then suggested will pop up, and then search will pop up, and then browse will fall down to that third spot, maybe even the second spot. But when it's like in full bore, so to speak, then browse is typically the winner. And I'll actually check on something here right now. I'm gonna log into a client account real quick, and I'm just gonna confirm something here really fast on a high volume channel as well. Let's see here. And while this is going on, I'm going to go to the next question. Let's see here. Discovery. Yeah, even in that one, you know, like suggested videos, and they're just like crushing it. For them, like suggested videos is number 1, and browse features is number 2. Search isn't even on the page. Let's see here. Cafe Stiflord says, do you think the colors you use in branding should be chosen based more on popular videos in the same niche, matching the tone of your content like color psychology, or entirely on the A/B testing? Yes and yes. So I think that that you should definitely look at what's happening in the niche that you're operating in. And this is from Cafe Stiflord again. I think that you should definitely look at the niche that you're operating in and see kind of the standard, the expectation. How are people identifying that it's that particular niche? As an example, if you look at beauty channels, a lot of beauty channels, they have a particular look. So even if you got shown a thumbnail and you didn't know that it was a beauty channel, in a lot of cases, you can look at the top beauty channels and you can say, okay, that looks like a beauty channel thumbnail, right? The same exact thing goes for their environment and all of that. When it comes to the actual colors that you're using and all of that, personally, once you identify the overall look that helps people identify that your content is a particular type of content for the niche that you're operating in, then I would definitely A/B test, because just because other people are doing it one way does not mean that if you go and you do it a completely different way that it's not going to work. As an example, you know, I'm going to use, you know, I'm using my channel a lot here today as an example. Like on mine, I came in with a totally different approach than anybody else in my industry, and it helped me stand out right out of the gate in the particular space that I'm operating in. And that helped me stand out right out of the gate. It helped people, you know, connect with my content and be impressed by my content right out of the gate, because it was totally different than what everybody else is doing. So when you can find some of those base elements that help people identify the type of content that you're making, but then you can you test your thumbnails and you say, okay, well, I'm going to do a bunch of different color schemes. I'm going to see what people are responding to most, but still within the same theme of how people identify that content. Then that's what I would recommend. What's up, Justin Bennett? Nice to see you in here, my friend. Let's see here. Kind of fun, kinda lame. Kind of fun, kind of lame. Why do experts never acknowledge the shout-outs that grew them? Nick, Brian, Owen, Andrew, etc. Their quality isn't great, just got in a club. Because it doesn't work that way. It's actually it's not just shout-outs that grew them. That's funny that you say that. Now I see why kind of lame is part of your name. Let's see here. ABN Almots Burr News. How can I create the little bar on your video right now? Thank you, Nick. The little bar on my video. Oh, this right down here. What you want to do? Open up your, yeah, I know. What you want to do for this is basically you just create that in Photoshop. This particular bar that's on the screen right here that you're talking about, this is basically 3 different layers. It is a background layer. That's basically the line at the top, and then the background behind the text, and then there's the top layer, which is the TubeBuddy logo, and then the fade that's over here on this side, and then you have the scrolling text that you actually add inside of your Streamlabs OBS, or your OBS if you're using OBS. Taiwaz TV says, how do you feel about DaVinci Resolve? It's fantastic. A lot of people use DaVinci Resolve when it comes to actual color correction. DaVinci Resolve is actually like a pretty popular thing for people that are like really particular about color. So so it's fine. If you can't afford Adobe yet, definitely use whatever you have at your disposal and just try to learn how to use that as best as you possibly can, because right now it's more important that you're just making the content, right? And then as everything grows and you can't afford Adobe, you may want to move into Adobe, you may not. You know, like if you get efficient at DaVinci Resolve, you may just want to stick with DaVinci Resolve. I'm in that boat. I use Vegas, and I'm so fast in Vegas that it limits me, because, you know, this whole video is about creating content faster, right? Or this whole live stream. And for me personally, I'm not familiar enough with Premiere. I use it, you know, I'm trying to get better at it from time to time. But I'm so efficient and fast in Vegas that that's still my go-to, still the main thing that I edit my videos in, as I make that slow transition and over time get faster in Adobe Premiere. So if you're fast, and if DaVinci Resolve works for you, and you know, and it's free, which it is, then keep rolling with that. No problem at all there. Let's see here. Q Studios Lab says, can you get more into how to do A/B testing for thumbnails? Absolutely. So what you want to do when you are A/B testing thumbnails is, one, if you are I believe it's a Legend user for TubeBuddy, Andrew can correct me on this if it's wrong, but I think it's only available in the Legend package, so make sure that you upgrade if you haven't. And then basically how it works is you load in your original thumb. You basically tell the TubeBuddy interface, you say, okay, this is the video that I want to test this on. You load that in, and then it's going to pull the original thumbnail. And then from there, you make a variant. So that variant, you can do anything that you want. So let's say that you have one thumbnail, and you're trying to figure out, hey, and for the particular content that I make for my particular channel, for the particular demographic of people that YouTube is showing my content to, should I be using text on my thumbnails, right? So you say, okay, I'm going to have my original one that has text on it, and then I'm going to do a variant that has no text on it at all, and then I'm going to see how they perform against each other. And then once you have that test and you have the results of that test, you set that aside and you say, okay, I'm going to make a change or not based on the results of that test. Then you run another test and you say, okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to say, okay, in this particular thumbnail, I'm using, let's say, like a red background for my cutouts, but I'm going to now use a blue background, and I'm going to basically run those colors against each other, and then you get that winner from there. So what you want to do is, once you have those tests and you say, okay, these particular tests that I ran got me these particular results, you want to see if you can duplicate those results. That's what's really important. If you can duplicate those results over a handful of different tests to where it's like, wow, every time I use a blue background on my thumbnail, people are clicking on that more, my click-through rate is higher, and more people are coming in and watching my video, then that tells you, well, I need to start using blue instead of red, right? Same exact thing applies if, say you have the one video where not using text got more clicks, and then you have another video to where using text got more clicks, then that tells you, okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and I'm actually not going to lean on one or the other in terms of the text. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to continue just using text or doing whatever's appropriate for the particular video for now, and then I'm going to test something else, like, you know, making my face bigger, or making, you know, changing the actual images that I'm using in the thumbnails and things like that. If you watch my last live stream on my channel, Chicky Pie, they have 2 million subscribers, and they were basically giving a full breakdown of some of the tests that they've ran inside of TubeBuddy and all of the different things that they found from running those tests. Really interesting. It's in the first part of the live stream, so I really recommend that you go and that you watch that. Red Rocket, boo, nice to see you in here. I want to use my name for YouTube instead, but when I tried that with videos, people clicked away because they're looking for Cricut game content. Interesting. Should this stop me? I would change Red Rocket Resells to Cricut Wilson Harris. What's your opinion? Thank you. I would just change it. Like, just go with what you want to do. In terms of like people looking for Cricut content, you know, that's fine. Over time, YouTube will stop suggesting you to the people looking for Cricut content because they're not going to be responding to your content. So, you know, like if that's their user history, then you're going to be less likely to be showing up for them over a long period of time, right? But if you want to brand it by your name, which is smart in terms of like, you know, social influence, if you want to brand it by your name, then absolutely go for that without question. And especially, you know, if you're offering like services and things like that, which I believe you do, then that's even more beneficial in terms of using your name. Okay. All right, got it. Thank you there, Andrew. Let's see here. Okay, ABN Almatuz Burr says, whoa, just lost that one. Says, nice. Says, asked about using XSplit versus OBS. I personally recommend OBS or Streamlabs OBS because they are absolutely awesome. XSplit's okay too. It comes down to preference, you know, what it is that you like, what has the features in it that you particularly like, and things like that. The reason that I'm recommending Streamlabs to people is because they also have some like built-in stuff into their system that you can just basically click on a few buttons and it'll integrate it in terms of popping up when people are subscribing and that kind of stuff, which is pretty cool. All right, well, thank you so much for hanging out. I hope you learned something here today. If we answered your question, or if you learned something, definitely give this video a thumbs up. Go ahead and share it with a YouTuber that you think could benefit from this information. Hopefully, we help you learn how to make videos faster today, so that you can put out more content and things like that. Have an awesome week. Thanks again to Andrew for moderating the chat. Thanks again for TubeBuddy for letting me come on here and talk to people for a bit. And thanks to you for, hanging out in the stream and for, interacting and being a part of the community and all the stuff that is going on here on TubeBuddy and on YouTube in general. Thank you so much for hanging out. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.